Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around the Ring, episode 280. I am your co-host, Justin Hensley, and joined, as always, my co-host, Steve Long. Steve, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing this week?
Not too bad, not too bad. Good little week of wrestling we had here.
Not bad at all. Yeah, had some really cool things happen.
It was funny. We talked about last week how we didn't know what was going to be going on this upcoming week that would be worth talking about, and then we wound up watching some stuff. So
yeah, I think we can both agree that the surprise that Tony Khan had for us was well worth it.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later when we talk about Dynamite. But we have we've got some other stuff we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Warrior Wrestling, a little bit about New Japan, a little bit about Impact. We've got our news, like our headlines that we talk about. Got a few of those. However, before we jump into that, just wanted to let everybody out there know this is a podcast that is part of the Red 5 network of podcasts. Some really great podcasts out there to check out. So if you guys out there are interested in things other than wrestling, such as comic books, movies, TV shows, Star Wars, whatever, anything like that, then there is definitely a podcast out there for you. So check it out, red5network.com, or just check it out at Red5 Network on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, you can find us on Around the Ring OK at Twitter. And go out there and chat with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Always exciting to engage with people out there.
Yeah. Oh, I almost forgot. We do have a top 5 list this week.
We do.
I don't think we had one last week, did we?
No, we skipped one.
No. So this week we are going to be doing top 5 championship belts.
It's kind of visual, but
yeah,
you should be able to, as long as you're not driving, you should be able to look up what we're talking about.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and jump into the news. What do we have this week?
Sure. So let's see. Let's start with, well, honestly, I think the biggest thing in the news this week, as far as our recording time, is Josh Alexander. His Impact Wrestling contract has expired, and he cannot wrestle in the United States until he gets his visa issue worked out.
Oh, wow.
So, unfortunately, that means he had to be taken off of the No Surrender show that's coming up from Impact.
Right.
And a couple U.S. shows. He was supposed to wrestle at Terminus and AML Wrestling later this month. So those have been canceled as well. Disappointing.
They wrote it into the show pretty well, though. I think.
Did they?
Okay. Yeah.
I am kind of curious as to whether or not this means he is not going to re-sign with Impact.
Yeah, there has been some speculation to that effect. So, if that were to happen, what are the odds that we can get a reunion of sorts with crap, his name escapes my mind.
Ethan Page.
Good God. It's going to be one of those nights. Great. Awesome. Yes.
The North reunion?
Yes, a North reunion. I actually saw the North at an Impact event in, God, I want to say it's Lawton, possibly, which is about, I don't know, an hour from where I'm at. Me and Floyd and our friend Ryan went there, and that was a little event that they put on not too terribly far ahead of Bound for Glory in 2019. I guess you could just call it a house show. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
But it was a very small house show. It was like in a high school gymnasium. But yeah, the North were there. I remember Brian Cage was there. It was a good little show. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Thinking about it, reading the article from the Wrestling Observer, in the article they said he was sent home from the show.
That is right.
Which makes me wonder, it's like, why wouldn't you just, he's there already, just tape the show. I don't know. The only thing I could think of is they offered him a contract to re-sign then on the spot. And he said, I need to think about it, or no. And they just sent him home. I don't know that.
Well, on the show itself, there was no talk about contracts or even that his contract was coming up for renewal.
Yeah.
They didn't really talk about that at all. It was mostly about his desire to get a rematch against Moose.
Yeah.
That he never got. So.
Yeah, that storyline where he lost the title, like he won the title and then immediately lost it that same night.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they didn't capitalize on that, or I don't know. They should have immediately gone back into a program with that, I think.
Yeah, I think they should have had the rematch like
immediately
at the next,
right?
Not necessarily the next pay-per-view, maybe not wait that long, but at least like the next event, because they have an event every month.
Yeah.
Like No Surrender, it's not a pay-per-view, it's an event.
Yeah. I don't know. It's strange. Because I mean, honestly, I would think that you would try and lock him down as soon as possible, but that could just mean he's not interested. So, I mean, if we'll just say, just theoretically, that AEW would be interested. We know they are because Brandy Rhodes specifically mentioned him in a promo.
Yeah. Well, maybe he himself is looking for a reunion with Ethan.
That would make sense.
And if Scorpio Sky, sorry about that.
I was gonna say, like, AEW is a higher profile show than Impact is, so like, of course, you want to be on the product with more eyeballs,
Yeah. But I was gonna say, if Scorpio ends up in the title picture, the TNT title picture,
yeah,
he could his tag team with Ethan could be dissolved.
Yeah,
which would open up a spot for Ethan for the North to be reunited. So,
I mean, I could see Dan Lambert wanting a Josh Alexander type for his stable. That makes perfect sense, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. It's up in the air. It's unfortunate that he had to cancel those dates. So,
yeah.
Hopefully they get made up later, or sooner rather than later. But exciting time, I think, to be Josh Alexander, if that's the
case. All right, next piece of news we've got is our next announcement for the next inductee into the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, and this one is Samoa Joe. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. I actually never saw him during his Ring of Honor phase. The first that I had seen Joe was his TNA run. So I never got to see him in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. He he was the third ever Ring of Honor champion, and he held the title for 645 days. Pretty good. Oh, it's actually the longest reign in ROH history. So he's the number one.
Wow.
So
very cool.
And he was known for his yes, absolutely. And he was known for his defenses against CM Punk. So I wonder if that final entrant in the Hall of Fame is CM Punk. It makes sense. It's kind of the
Be kind of weird if
historical.
it wasn't.
Like, I feel like those three names specifically are the biggest names in the beginning, like the first part of Ring of Honor's history. So, like,
Mhm.
of course, their first, what do you call it? First ballot entries.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense. I mean, they could go a different route. They could save Punk for next year, but also, well, Ring of Honor, we don't really know if they'll be a thing. So,
Yeah.
who knows?
Who
Maybe you
knows?
do get Punk in there now to get some eyeballs on the product.
Yeah. It might not be a bad idea. Maybe when they start back up in April, they'll have like a Ring of Honor. Oh, wait a minute. Aren't they already having like a Ring of Honor, like inductee ceremony of some sort?
Yeah, they said they're gonna do an induction ceremony.
Okay.
I wonder if it'll be the whole show, because these little like videos they put together are really like 11-minute video packages about their careers. I thought they were gonna be giving them a whole episode, specials, which
Yeah.
they did not. But don't know.
All right. What do we got next?
This one's a little bit of bummer news, but Roxy, the former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, has been offered a WWE contract. She was spotted at one of their tryouts not too long ago. This article, the way it's written, all it says is she's been offered. It doesn't say that she's accepted and she's signing.
Yeah.
I would assume she is. She's 20 years old, so presumably she's going to have a very long career in front of her. So I could see her going, let me try it out. If they're offering me something this early in my career, I should try it and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, it's only going to build her resume and give her pretty good, like, experience on the production television side of things.
Yeah.
Like learning how to cut promos and work to the camera and, work, all that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Learn from Shawn Michaels. Like, these are all good things. Even if she washes out after 3 years and they cut her, in a year.
Yeah.
Well, at least she got a little bit more training.
Yeah.
So she's young enough that I'm not like, oh man, they're gonna waste her, but she could show up anywhere in the future.
That's true. Well, maybe we'll get lucky and she doesn't take the contract.
Maybe she's gonna use it to pit
Leverage,
AEW some money against
another company. I mean, at this point, I'd even rather see her in Impact than see her. Well, because Deonna Purrazzo's over there, and that would make for some good matches.
Well, and then you also have Mickie James, so like she's a very experienced,
sure
wrestling mind. So like learning from Mickie James would be amazing too. So I don't know. I mean, why not take advantage of like the WWE Performance Centers, like gym and like workout routines and all that kind of stuff. Just I guess to try it out. We'll see how she does. I mean, unfortunately, I won't be watching it unless there's a drastic change in the way WWE produces their shows. But
well, I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers, in that product that I would like to see. Just don't want to see them enough to have to watch the whole product.
Right.
I mean, if I could see nothing but AJ Styles matches, sure, but I got to wait, through probably 2 shows to find one.
And then when you do, it's like a less than 5-minute match. And
The last match I saw him in was at, I saw him, he was in the Rumble, but his last singles match was the Raw right before the Rumble, and it was against
I don't know. I probably heard
he's one of the champ. He's the current United States champion.
AJ? No,
his opponent.
Oh, that would be Damian Priest.
That's right, Priest.
Yeah.
So it was okay because it was AJ Styles, but it just wasn't nothing to jump up and down about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because they don't actually care. Like the WWE doesn't really care about match quality when it comes to their television.
no.
Unfortunately. But yeah, that's all the
All
little
right,
news pieces we had.
that's all for news. What do we want to talk about now?
Well, I watched a little bit of New Japan this week.
Okay.
Not a lot, just a little. New Japan returned. And, they had to take a couple weeks off due to COVID-like symptoms for some of their wrestlers, and they just wanted to play it safe. So they basically just canceled a couple shows that were on this Golden Series.
Yeah.
They came back this week, and I believe it was the show from the 11th of February. It would be New Year's Golden Series Day 9. And the reason why I actually watched this is, one, I've missed watching New Japan since they've been away.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the most exciting show, I like seeing their version of wrestling with their wrestlers. So I checked that show out. I watched all the singles matches and one of the tags. Okay. So the tag match was fun. It's Los Ingobernables versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, and Yuji Nagata. This is to set up the Naito versus Okada championship match coming up later this month. And I think it's Sonata will be fighting Tanahashi.
Is that this month or is it next month?
Yeah, it's this month actually. I think it's like next weekend that they're going to do that match.
Is it I figured they were going to wait until the 50th anniversary show.
Yeah, I think let's see. So the way they've been doing these shows, when is the actual 50th anniversary show?
Well, the show itself has been scheduled for March 1st.
March 1st. Yeah, they have no matches announced for that. Yeah, so it's going to be, let's see if I can get the actual
because
day.
The next day is when they start the New Japan Cup.
Yeah. I'm wondering if the anniversary event is going to have some older guys, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. When is the Naito versus Okada match scheduled to happen? Let's say maybe it's day 15. Looks like. Yeah, it'll be day 15. So that show will be there'll be 3 title matches on that show. It'll be Minoru Suzuki versus Toru Yano for the King of Pro Wrestling title. In a dog cage match, which the fans voted for. The Never Openweight 6-man tag team title match. House of Torture will defend against Hiroki Goto, Yo, and Yoshihashi. And the IWGP World Heavyweight title match will be Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito. I believe the night before that, there's a Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yes, Hiroshi Tanahashi will take on Sonata for the United States heavyweight title. So, this show was mainly a focus for the juniors. So there were a couple of singles matches. The most notable would be Tiger Mask wrestled Gato, so that's a little fun feud there. Typical Bullet Club intervention. Sho and Yo had a rematch, and I was very much looking forward to this match. It was a very good match until you got to the end with the typical House of Torture. Referee takes a bump. Out come Evil. Out come Dick Togo. They're going to interfere. They're going to beat up Yo. But in this match, Hiroki Goto came out as well as I just mentioned his name a few minutes ago. Excuse me, I believe came out and like made the save, and so the match continued, but still wound up just being at the very, they cheated again, show cheated again, and won again.
Yeah.
Typical House of Torture match, unfortunately. But the main event was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title was on the line. It was El Desperado defending against Master Wato, because we saw Master Wato tap out Desperado at night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. Luckily, Desperado retained his title for this match. It was a pretty good match, though. I'd say this is probably one of the better Master Wato singles matches. He has been improving over the last year, which is, there was a lot of hope on him, for being something special whenever he left for Excursion and then came back and kind of disappointed a lot of people. But he also has been kind of stuck with a gimmick that nobody really likes, the Master Wato gimmick, and his blue hair. But the match itself is good. I'd say that's probably the only match on that show that I would go out of my way to watch. But the tag match is fun as well. So that's my little bit of New Japan. There was another show that happened this weekend that I did not get to. I believe it's the junior tags that were defended. I can pull that up real quick as well. I'll probably wind up watching maybe the title match. Let's see. There was a couple singles match. Oh, okay. Robbie Eagles wrestled Taiji Ishimori. Evil wrestled Tomohiro Ishii for the Never Openweight title. Okay, so those are the big singles matches. So maybe I might not check those out.
I was planning to try to watch some of New Beginning, but I didn't get to it.
Yeah, the US show. Yeah. But just a little. I mainly just dipped my toe in to kind of just be like, I want to see my friends. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
But what else did you watch this week?
Well, obviously, other than AEW, I think I mentioned it last week that I wanted to start watching Impact again, or maybe that was offline. Maybe that was away from the show. I mentioned that. I can't remember if we talked about that last week or not. But
blend together.
Yeah, they tend to. But yeah, I watched Thursday's episode of Impact, and I won't get deep into any of the matches, but this was probably one of the better episodes of Impact that I've seen in quite a while. And I don't know what it was about the show specifically, just kind of as a package, it was a good show. There was we talked earlier about the Josh Alexander thing. There was a promo. He kicked it off with a promo, and then had kind of an impromptu match against Big Con, and then he won by submission, but he wouldn't break the hold. So Scott D'Amore got out there, and they started chit-chatting and talking, and Josh got mad, and that was when he sent him home, as we mentioned. But then Deonna Purrazzo had a title match. She was doing an open challenge, and she had both of her belts with her. So she said, whoever comes in here, you can either wrestle me for the ROH title or the AAA title. So that call was answered by Santana Garrett, who is I'm not super familiar. I've heard the name, but I'm not super familiar with the work. But she came out, picked the ROH title, lost. But there was a kind of in the middle of the show, there was a really good kind of a Bullet Club versus Bullet Club segment. Almost. It was like, because Gorillas of Destiny came out and were doing some stuff with talking about the title match. They were really throwing some shade at Violence No More, or no, that's not the name of it. Violent by Design. And so they came out, Eric Young came out, and they were going back and forth, and Jay White was there, obviously, as well. And then they brought out, and this is where the Bullet Club versus Bullet Club thing comes out. Out comes the Good Brothers, and they're going back and forth. They're tossing back and forth about which Bullet Club is the best Bullet Club or the real Bullet Club, and this stuff. And it was a really good back and forth between them all. And then the show closed with I'm pretty sure it was a non-title match. I'm pretty sure it was a non-title match between. Oh, wait. Morrissey doesn't have the belt. That's right. Okay. So it was W. Morrissey versus Brian Myers. So it was a pretty brutal match. It was a no DQ match, but it was a pretty brutal, good match. I'm not a big fan of W. Morrissey, but Myers took the offensive in the majority of that match. He was pretty much the leader of that match for a while. He didn't win, and then Moose came out, and Moose and W. Morrissey got into it, and that set the stage for. They still have one more show before No Surrender, but No Surrender is when W. Morrissey and Moose have their title match.
Yeah,
but yeah, all in all, it was a good show. As far as, and I'm sure I'll watch the next one.
I heard good things about. I'm in a Facebook group for another wrestling podcast, and someone in the group was saying that they felt like Impact was kind of slept on. But you said it was good. It looked like there were some reviews for it that were pretty positive as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're starting to turn things around over there.
Hopefully. I mean, I would really like to see. I was thinking about doing a preview of No Surrender, but there's really no point. But the one thing that I would really like to see out of No Surrender, I don't foresee it happening. It could, but I don't foresee it. But I would like to actually see Guerrillas of Destiny take the titles.
Yeah. I actually just saw an article today that said Tama Tonga re-signed with New Japan. His contract had just run out, so he re-signed, which is good.
But yeah, I'd like to see those guys more. And if they can do some work here at Impact, that would be a good place to watch them.
Yeah.
But I mean, just because he re-signed with New Japan doesn't necessarily mean he can't be over here doing the Impact thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, it's cool. I did watch another non-AEW show this week. I checked out Warrior Wrestling. So they did their show. It was called Warrior Wrestling 19 from Chicago. The thing that made me interested in the show is the card was just stacked. It was just full of really cool people that I like. Warrior Wrestling is a Midwestern wrestling promotion. This show was in Cicero, Illinois. Which
I know where that's at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They've got another show coming up in like Indianapolis, so like they're not strictly Chicago, but area. But yeah, like I saw the card and I was like, this show looks good. And I've heard good things about Warrior Wrestling. It's I'd say it's probably one of the bigger true indies. They don't travel too far outside of their little region. But they do attract quite a few big names, and they put on good matches. And so this match was the show was most interesting to me because on the main event, was Thunder Rosa defending the Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship against the former Ember Moon, Athena, for that title. This was Athena's first match since being released from the WWE. They said it was her first match since October. I think she did like a main event or an NXT or something. Excuse me. And it was a great match. Like,
I actually want to see that match. Yeah.
It's a really, really good match. I'm number one. Thunder Rosa is just like one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now.
Yeah.
Hands down. But I was just so happy to see Athena back in the ring. In the WWE, she was so wasted.
She was,
especially towards the end. She was kind of riddled with injury in the WWE, which actually plays kind of a factor in this match. Let's say she worked a little bit heel in this match. It's just a really, really, really good wrestling match. It's just, I don't want to give it away because I think it's a good enough match that I think everyone should go check out.
Yeah.
It's very worth seeing her back in the ring.
Yeah, definitely. I that's the main reason. I mean, I like Thunder Rosa and like to watch her, but I'd really like to see Athena. I guess we can't call her Ember Moon anymore, but
yeah, Athena was her name on the independent scene. So before she was
okay,
WWE, okay. So it's kind of easy.
Yeah, I actually didn't know anything about her until NXT.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't want to give anything away with that match because that match is really, really good and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's just like a classic wrestling match is how I would describe it. But the rest of the show was really good. There's a lot of good matches on here. There's a couple people that actually quite a few people that people would recognize. The Briscoe brothers defended the ROH World Tag Team Championship. This is the first time they have defended that title outside of Ring of Honor since they won it back at Final Battle. And they wrestled up against the Workhorsemen, who I know from their work in PWX in Charlotte. Other people may know them. They did a lot of work in Evolve. But they also have done quite a bit of AEW work. So the Workhorsemen are Anthony Henry, who's done a lot of dark episodes of AEW, and JD Drake, who is one of the wingmen with it was Peter Avalon, but now he's gone. But he's the guy who he's like he's been described as the new age enforcer. So he's very much a Arn Anderson type wrestler.
Yeah.
The match is really good. It's a really fun tag team match. I knew the Briscoes were going to retain, but I was rooting for the Workhorsemen. Not only are they kind of my hometown guys, but they're just really good, and I think a lot of people will get a lot out of them. Other matches. So go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe I'll get to see more of that promotion when I move, since they kind of are from they kind of originate out of the area. I mean, if I got to go to Chicago or whatever, but I mean, Cicero, like you were mentioning, it's only like 10 miles from Chicago.
Oh, okay, so it's like
it's kind of a suburb actually. So
makes
it's
sense.
It's like when they did All Out back in September. That wasn't in Chicago; it was in Schaumburg. But they marketed it as Chicago because it's right there. It's like right there.
A couple other people on the show. A lot of AEW faces. Dante Martin wrestled Bandito, fun match. Santana wrestled Speedball Mike Bailey, who he just recently re-entered the United States and so between this show and Santana showing up on the Terminus show and how he had acted on Dynamite this week, I think a Santana solo run is coming pretty soon. With his with his recent matches I've seen him do on his own, it'd be fun to do. I think
I'm not sure if I like the idea of that.
he's really good. I think. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what they would end up doing with him on AEW, but he's getting some singles matches out.
Yeah.
Probably one of the more talked about segments of the show was a match between Brian Cage and Casey. So it was a tag team match. Excuse me. It's Brian Cage and Casey Navarro going up against the Acclaimed, your favorites.
Ugh.
And
why can't they just stick to one wrestling federation?
Well,
or if they lost, I mean, one promotion is what I meant. But if they left that one, I wouldn't be too terribly disappointed.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but I think the Acclaimed are going to be baby faces within the year. And you might be changing your tune because Max did a rap on Brian Cage, and lots of references to Brian Cage's contract being dropped, and how the Acclaimed have had more TV time than Brian Cage has.
Well, they have. I mean,
it's meant as a dig, but it's true. And then Brian Cage rapped.
Oh, good God.
It was fun. The match was really fun. And the way people reacted to the Acclaim, though, like I said, I think they're going to be baby faces by the end of the year. So we'll see how that turns out. Couple other cool people on the show. Sky Blue did a match with Miranda Alizé. It was nice actually seeing Sky Blue kind of do something in a match because we haven't seen her do anything in AEW really. But at the same time, she was the babyface, and she was one of the babyface in distress most of the match, type matches. So, really, she didn't show a ton, but I think seeing her wrestle kind of made me think that, Tony Khan wasn't interested in Roxy because he has what he thinks is a version of her with Sky Blue. Like, she's also really young and new and like big on the indie scene. So, and there are a couple other good matches on the show too, but I won't go down all of them. But enjoyable show. I'm looking forward to seeing what Warrior Wrestling 20 has. I believe they're setting up a Will Ospreay match where he's defending his title against Blake Christian. So we'll see if that actually winds up happening. But Warrior Wrestling, it's one to watch out for, I think.
Cool. Yeah. And checking out a couple of those matches. All right, we got some stuff that happened in AEW.
Oh yeah.
We got the debut of a young man by the name of Keith Lee.
Yeah. The big promised surprise.
Yes.
From Tony Khan. Keith Lee is now is all elite.
Yeah, that the wait for that surprise did not disappoint. Isaiah Cassidy came out, and we knew it was going to be this match. So Isaiah was out there, and they were talking about the qualifier match, and it was just kind of like I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, all right, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And I was thinking about the episode that we had recorded just a couple days prior to that. I'm like, is it going to be one of them? And then the music hits, and then it pops up on the board, and you're like, oh my God, it's him. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. And comes out, and he got one hell of a pop.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm going to come back to that, but he comes out, and he's getting cheered, and then the match starts, and it starts off in a very spectacular fashion. It was like, I mean, he threw Isaiah from one corner of the ring to the other. And I mean, Isaiah got a few good moves in,
Yeah.
but ultimately, I mean, he was no match for Keith. I mean, Keith basically took on Private Party.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Mark
just
Quinn got heavily involved.
took him out. And then, and Matt Hardy, like, he just left the ring.
He ditched him.
He's like, forget it.
But also,
my boy's getting his ass whooped.
you know, he's been dropping hint. You know, he's been saying like, if you fail, then you know I may be done with Private Party. And the way he left the match is, I've heard people say, was a direct reference to the way Jeff Hardy left the WWE. Like he like jumped over the barricade, and that was like the thing that like the WWE was like, no, you're fired. You can't do that. You're being erratic.
You're being erratic. Yeah, I was like,
and so Matt was like, all right. He jumped over the rail just like his brother, and which makes me think Jeff is coming soon.
Yeah, it was a really fun match to watch. I really liked it. I think, man, I've got so much to say about this whole spot. I don't even know where to begin. But number one, based off just the pop alone, the welcome he got from the fans is another indication that a certain owner of another promotion is completely out of touch.
Oh yeah.
Like to come across as, I don't know what to do with this guy. It's like, okay, Tony Khan's like, okay, I'll take him. I'll show you what you can do with this guy.
Yeah. And you let him be himself is the number one thing you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got, I wanted to piggyback off of that. The things that he did to get just the crowd on his side. And it was just like, he took his shirt off. Number one was a huge thing because he wasn't allowed to wrestle with his shirt off on the main roster. And then he did his posing with his hands. He did the little like, bask in his glory to the chant. Yeah. He did the thumb. It was just like, oh man, we haven't seen you in a while, man. So good to see you.
It's so good to see him again. But you just, for those of you out there that aren't familiar with Keith Lee, this is a guy who is, I can't remember the exact weight they gave, but the guy is almost 400 pounds.
Yeah. He's like 375 or something like that. Yeah.
But the work that he does in the ring, you're thinking, how in the world does a guy that big do that? And it's just amazing to watch his first outing. And I am so looking forward to what he does in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And to be completely honest, if he is not in the world title picture by the end of the year, I will be very surprised.
Yeah. I think a lot of people suspect that he's going to go into the TNT Championship kind of chase.
It's a good start. Yeah,
might as well go ahead. You know, it seems too early to throw him in with Hangman yet. So, like, I think it is a good idea to let him go for go for some TNT title, because honestly, I know Sammy Guevara is going to be defending his title soon, but I'm assuming he's going to retain. And if we get Sammy Guevara versus Keith Lee at Revolution, imagine the flips.
Poor Sammy. No, yeah, I think AEW wants to give him a few more matches and get those of the AEW audience that don't know who he is a taste of who he is, a little bit more taste. They got a pretty good taste. This week.
He got to do a lot in that match.
He did.
He did some acrobatic work too. You know, he did some high flying stuff. Even
that was just
that stuff was looked a little scary, just because I think he hadn't been doing it in a while. But
That was just such an amazing match.
Oh, you know, they did such a good job. Like I heard someone bring up that when it was announced that Isaiah Cassidy was going to be facing this mystery opponent, one of the comments was, "Well, it has to be Keith Lee because Isaiah Cassidy is going to sell for Keith Lee so well that there's no one else that makes sense for him to be." And it wound up being the right call.
He did sell very well. Not to say that Keith really needed
Right.
that much help because he's Keith Lee and he's amazing.
Right.
But Isaiah did really well selling it. He did his little characteristic scream.
Yeah,
when he
that was the number one
thrown
thing that I
around.
heard.
Yeah,
People were like, "He's just gonna scream when Keith slaps him, chops him."
yeah. No, it was great, and I actually went back and watched this match probably like 3 times.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
It was
just
good.
it was so fun to watch. It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just these wrestlers that get fired or cut or whatever, and you're like, okay, I don't have any feelings about them one way or the other, so I don't care that they got cut. I'm sorry they lost a job, but
Mhm.
I never was into them, or not anything. It doesn't do anything for me. But Keith Lee getting cut, it was like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you cut Keith Lee? And it's just so good to see him in a ring again. And
Yeah.
I think Tony's got some really interesting plans for him.
Yeah, if they're smart, they've got him figured in for a lot of programs going forward. I mean, just he's one of those guys that whenever you think about, I was like, okay, well now I want to see Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy. Now I want to see Keith Lee versus Bryan Danielson. Now I want to see Keith Lee versus John Moxley. Like it's just like the never-ending list of people that I want to see him wrestle. See CM Punk.
I want to see him versus Wardlow.
Whoa, yeah. See, like there's so many possibilities and good matchups there, and the roster is so stacked with talent right now. You can have any combination of people, and I think you're going to have some good matches.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about the other appearance that happened on this show.
Yeah.
So this one's a funny one too, but Jay White made his appearance as Adam Cole's backup to take out some Roppongi Vice. Young Bucks, of course, are surprised and frustrated that Adam Cole didn't inform them that Jay White was coming, and also reference the fact that Kenny and Jay White have a very bad history together in New Japan. Because if you're unfamiliar with that storyline, Kenny Omega offered Jay White a spot in the Bullet Club. He pretended like he was going to accept the offer, then turned on Kenny, gave him the switchblade, and then as soon as Kenny left New Japan in the Bullet Club, Jay White joins the Bullet Club and takes over kind of as leader. So there's a history there between them. Definitely planting some seeds. He is going to have a match. I believe it's against Trent Beretta on Rampage this week.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm looking forward to that. So the weird thing about this is, so when Tony Khan announced that he was going to have a surprise signing, he specifically said that someone's going to come through the forbidden door.
Mm-hmm.
And then apparently after he made those comments, people, he realized, he's like, wait a minute, I didn't use the term forbidden door correctly. Keith Lee is not coming through the forbidden door because he doesn't work for anyone. So he scrambled and got Jay White last minute just so he didn't let down the audience with a not actual forbidden door coming, someone coming through. So Jay White is signed with New Japan still. So this means he has now crossed the forbidden door. Funny little thing. I mean, I guess he just didn't want people mad. I think I think he was concerned about the Christian situation where he overhyped him and people were a little underwhelmed by his signing. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Jay White winds up working in this company permanently in the future. So, but this will be a nice little thing. I think it's a possibility. He's been working on getting his green card in the United States. He's referenced a lot of wanting to get in the ring with AEW wrestlers. I think there is a possibility that he eventually, does leave New Japan and go to AEW. But I don't know when. It could be a while away, but still, it's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
Any other big moments from the show?
Okay, not necessarily big moments. There was a couple of matches I just wanted to just lightly touch on.
Yeah.
Wardlow had a match against the Blade.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that I think this is probably the best match I've seen Wardlow in recent memory. For one, it wasn't a squash match.
Yeah, like it was an actual match.
Like it was an actual match. Now, I mean, thing about Blade, I'm not really a fan of him. I don't hate him.
Yeah. He's just kind of a guy that's there.
He's just there. He's just there. I don't care about him. But he put up a good match against Wardlow, and I was just glad that Wardlow had an actual match. I was just glad to see that. Other than that, I mean, I really enjoyed not match of the night. That for me has to go with the Keith Lee match just because. But I really did enjoy the match between FTR and CM Punk and Jon Moxley. It was a really good match.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think what I think was good on 2 points here. This was the type of match and the type of opponents that FTR is, for lack of a better term, used to wrestling. This is their type of match.
Yeah.
So it made them look better than they have in a while as a tag team, and makes you remember why they are one of the best tag teams out there.
Yeah.
Second of all, I really think, I mean, and not just this match, but the match the week prior is starting to show. I think at this point, Punk's ring rust has worn off.
Yeah.
Because he's starting to look really good.
Yeah.
He's starting to look like the Punk of old.
Even the ones where like he has the ring rust on it, you're still like, this guy's still good. He's got the right brain for it.
Sure, yeah. He just looks like he's more comfortable now.
Yeah.
And then Moxley. I mean, any match with Moxley is a good match.
I like the choice of Moxley as his partner because there is a little bit of a thread there. Like,
yes,
CM Punk brought in the Shield to the WWE.
I was thinking that when Moxley came out, I was like, I see what they're doing there. Yeah.
Plus, Punk is cool with Darby, and Darby's cool with Mox, so it makes sense. Yeah. Like, there's a thread there.
Very good choice there.
Yeah.
Other than that, as far as Dynamite goes, can't really go without talking about the Hangman Archer match.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up.
My goodness.
that
probably
match,
the bloodiest match I've ever seen on AEW.
It was so brutal, and it was short. Like it wasn't a slow. Like a lot of those like death match, hardcore matches, no lights out. Lights out matches.
Mm-hmm.
they kind of like walk and bash each other with moves and weapons and stuff. This one was like they were literally trying to kill each other. Like,
Yeah,
there was
it
such
was
a
so good.
believability.
It was so good, though.
Oh,
I mean, you got didn't Jake try to get involved at one point too?
yeah, Jake the Snake. He did the short arm kind
That's
of
right. That's right. That's
clothesline,
right.
and then he
Yeah.
set up to do the DDT, but then he got out of Heyman got out of it, and then like did the DDT on Lance Archer onto the floor, and
Yeah.
gave Jake the finger, or no, Jake gave him the finger.
Yeah.
Dan Lambert's involvement actually is probably the coolest aspect of the match, which is saying a lot for me because I do not like Dan Lambert. But he comes down and he disconnects the top rope.
That's right.
Because that's Hangman's finisher.
Yeah. Keeps him from doing the Hangman Lariat. Yeah.
Yeah, the buckshot lariat.
Buckshot Lariat. Yeah. Oh,
but
man.
the way that they get out of that was so good by having him bounce, basically like catapult off of the referee's back as the ref is bent over, and he nails it. They go through those tables on the side. Ah, that was so good.
It was so good. Such a good match. And Adam has gotten so much better since he's gotten the belt.
He's one of these guys where it's like, it's funny because people before this match, people were like, I don't know, is the experiment not working? Is he not connecting? And then he goes out and he had 2 amazing matches with Bryan Danielson. He has an amazing match with Kenny Omega to win the title, and then he has probably the best hardcore match of the entire company's history. So, or one of, at least, I'd have to go back and watch some early stuff, but so I don't think his run is a disappointment because the match work is so good. Like you can't discount his work. And the fact that he bleeds in like every single match now.
Yeah.
That was the scariest blood I've seen on him, though. That blood looked horrible. Like he probably needed stitches to close those up, but I don't know. I didn't look up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good match.
It really was. It really was.
And then right after, Adam Cole comes out and challenges him.
Oh, yeah.
Which is early, I think. But to me, because of this stage in Hangman's title reign, I think Hangman should retain. I mean, I know we're a little ways away to really talk about that match, but I think Hangman should retain this match. They can have a match later in the future. I think Cole will be a future AEW World Champion, but I think Hangman needs to keep it right now. I would have MJF be the one who takes it from him in the future, maybe it All Out or something.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from Dynamite that you feel like the only
not from Dynamite? No.
There's one thing I want to talk about, and it's a little small, but I just wanted to mention it because I really liked it, and it's just a small bit thing.
Okay.
But it was the Serena Deeb rookie challenge, 5-minute rookie challenge.
Okay.
I am in love with this gimmick already. The professor, what is she calling herself? She is it's just the professor, Serena Deeb. The professor's 5-minute rookie challenge. She's being old school classic heel. She's got a professor gimmick, which is fun. She works very much like a Dean Malenko, technical wrestler. I think this rookie challenge is probably going to go on for a few weeks, and she's going to fight a bunch of nobodies that we've never heard of. But the payoff is going to be probably someone coming in who maybe is not actually a rookie wrestler, but they might be a rookie within AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just really like this character and this gimmick, and I am very much looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. But that was the last little thing from Dynamite. There was other stuff on the show that was good, of course, but
yeah.
I think we hit all the big things we liked.
For sure. With Rampage, there wasn't really a lot to talk about. So, and you, I don't think you watched it.
No.
So it was actually the last match of the night, but that's the first one I'm going to mention. And it was the Hook match. It was, for lack of a better term, a typical Hook match.
So you mean a 5-star classic, right?
But sure. But I mean, he's just really good. If you watch him, and he's just really good at what he does. He's and being as young as he is, he's got a heck of a career ahead of him. The guy he was wrestling was QT Marshall was talking about his greatest student and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Blake something, Blake Lee, I think. But it was he's really, he doesn't work the crowd at all. Hook.
Yeah.
But the crowd works for him. He is just so over.
Yeah.
So over. And he's just so good. And as young as he is, like I said, he's just, man, where's he going to go? Where's he going to go from here? He's just amazing. He's good. And I think it's interesting that, if I'm remembering correctly, he has not yet had a match on Dynamite. He has strictly been wrestling on Rampage.
Well, yeah, Rampage is Hook's show, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good one. But the main match that I wanted to talk a little bit about was the return of a New Japan stable that we were supposed to get a couple of weeks ago, but didn't due to I think it was COVID. I think it was a COVID issue. But I'm referring to the return of Roppongi Vice.
How was that?
And it was a great match.
Good.
Roppongi Vice versus Young Bucks. Man, that was just amazing. It was definitely the match of this night.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, the more I watch Rocky Romero, the more I get into him.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. And he just had so many cool spots and so many, I mean, there was a lot of back and forth in this match, but it just, watching these four work together was just, I mean, they just, it wasn't slow paced.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was entertaining, and it's just, if it wasn't, I'd say, if I was going to number the matches of the week, this one would probably be 3, but a very close to 2-3.
Yeah.
But it was just so great. It was entertaining. We got another appearance by Danhausen, and that one was kind of a funny appearance. Orange Cassidy crawled. He was getting involved, and he crawled underneath the ring, looking like he was going under there to hide. And one of the Jacksons was looking under there to try to get him out, and you see a hand come out doing the halfway thumbs up thing that he does.
Yeah.
And so the I can't remember which Jackson it was, but he grabs the hand and pulls him out, and it turns out to be Danhausen instead of Orange Cassidy. And it was good. Gave the match a little bit of comedy, but overall, just a really good match, and a really good to see Roppongi Vice back.
That's nice. I'm gonna have to look that up because I actually was looking forward to that match.
Yeah, that was good, and I just like Rocky Romero, so it was just just like to see more of him.
Yeah. Well, cool.
But yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for Rampage. There was another match. It was Britt Baker versus I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, some nobody.
Somebody's never been on. I don't even think this person's ever been on Dark. Maybe, I don't know. It's been so long since
There's been a lot of episodes of Dark. Maybe.
Robin Renegade is her name.
Yep, not familiar at all.
Don't know who that is. I am looking her up right now, though. I'm kind of curious to see if she is. Well, does she even have a page anywhere?
Robin Renegade. I think she actually have the. No, she doesn't even have a cage match page. Wow,
that's what I was looking for.
I don't know where she's
got a page on Pro Wrestling News Hub. Okay.
Yeah.
And they can't even get her birthday right. Yeah. Pro Wrestling News Hub has her birthday listed as May 18th, 2021.
Well, yeah, she's a year, not even a year old.
Yeah. Well, okay. I won't be looking at that match or that. Yeah, you guys need to fix your website there if you're listening. I don't think that's her birthday.
No.
But yeah, nothing special. But
and the Ass Boys against Jurassic Express.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, just an excuse to give Jungle Express a win.
Yeah. It wasn't really all that entertaining to me. It was kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We should do our top 5 now.
Yeah, we got a top 5 to do. I mean, mine is more or less in descending order, but I could mix a few of these around.
Yeah.
But where do you want to start?
I'll start first.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you said this before we actually hit record or if you said it in the intro, but you said you didn't choose any WWE titles because you thought they're all ugly.
Yeah.
Well, there's one that actually looks pretty cool.
Okay.
And I picked my number 5 selection, the WWE United Kingdom Championship.
I don't even think I looked at that one. I forgot that was even a belt.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think Vince McMahon forgot that NXT UK exists, so that's probably why it still exists. It is a network-only show, so it's not like they're really losing anything by having it on. But surprisingly, they've kind of gotten away from the cuts. And I don't know if that's just like because they're in the UK and it's just a little different there for
I'm looking at that. I'm looking at a picture of it. It doesn't. It's a good looking belt if it didn't have that W on it on the sides there.
Yeah, so they took the basic WWE World and Universal Championship shape, like that kind of shield-looking, diamondy sort of.
Yeah.
How many sides is that? Is that a 7-sided?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
And then they, instead of the big W in the middle, they basically have just like a crest looking,
like a coat of arms. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I like about it so much, is that it just looks very different.
Okay. Well, had I known that existed, that may have been on my list.
Yeah.
In fact, looking at my list right now, that definitely would have at least been number 5.
And the women's title for the UK is the same design. It's just a white belt instead of a black belt. But yeah, it's a good looking belt. NXT UK is probably the best product that WWE still puts on. But even then, I don't really watch it.
That wouldn't surprise me. All right. My number 5 is the Impact World Championship belt. At least the current one. The current one, it's got like this. It's got a kind of a weird shape to it. The main portion. But you got over on the side, you got the maps. There's like some splashes of red. You know, it says Impact right in the middle. And then there's like this. I can't really tell what that is. It's almost like it's an owl, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I think that's the Anthem logo.
Oh, okay,
Anthem
it looks cool.
Impact.
I like it. But yeah, that's my number 5.
Yeah, it's not a bad looking belt. You're right though. It does have a weird shape.
Yeah,
it's like kind of squished. I don't know. It's a weird, like a circle but mushed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 4 selection, and these aren't really in that much of an order. Excuse me. Is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. So I went with this one.
Okay. Continue.
I went with this one because it has the same basic design as the IWGP Heavyweight Championship had. It's just a little smaller, and I think the IWGP Heavyweight Championship was my favorite. Is probably one of my like top all-time favorite championship. Period. But since I went with active titles, since that belt is no longer active and looks very different, I went with the smaller but the same basic design of that title. It's also got all the plates on the side with like the wrestlers' names on them. I don't think it's every champion ever. It's clearly not, but it's probably at least the first, however many, 20 maybe, if that. Yeah. But that's I went with that one.
So my number 4 is something you just referred to, and a lot of people don't like this belt. They don't like this belt. I know you don't like this belt, but the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, I like the belt. I can't tell you why. I like it. It's got a weird like shield shape to it.
Yeah, it's like a wings almost.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. I just like how it looks.
So like I respect it, and I don't think it's an ugly belt. I just preferred the other title, but this one also is like nods to earlier versions of the belt as well.
Yeah. And I also went with active belts too.
Yeah. So I don't hate it. I just think it looks. A lot of people say it looks like Cody Rhodes' terrible tattoo.
I don't think it looks that bad. But
I've always said it looks like Sinistar, the old arcade game. But yeah, it's not a bad belt. It'd be in my top 10.
Yeah,
but not my top 5. But okay, my next one. This one,
number 3,
is a newer championship.
Okay.
It is the Pan African World Diaspora Wrestling Championship. It is currently held by Trish Adora and has only been I think it's only represented at it's a wrestling company, I believe it's called Fight Club Wrestling, except the I is a number 1. And it's a championship that's made specifically for African American professional wrestlers.
Okay.
And it's a gorgeous title. It is a green strap with these very cool African tribal like patterns and designs in the gold. And there's like some red in there as well. It's a fantastic looking championship. Trish Adora is the first champion. She is still the champion. She will be defending it soon at a show coming up this month, which I'm going to try and watch as well.
Cool. I'm still trying to find it.
Yeah, I'll send here. Let me send this to you in our little chat over here so you can visualize it. It's a very cool looking title.
Yeah, the way you're describing it, it sounds pretty cool.
So I sent that over there. It's in our little chat there.
Sorry, folks, if you can't. You can't see this, but
look up Trish Adora.
Yeah,
you may be able to find her wearing it. But yeah, it's just a really nice looking championship. Plus it's a really cool idea. But
yeah, I like the idea behind it. But... All righty, come on, let's get this pulled up. Oh, there it is. Okay, I thought you were gonna put it in. Oh man, that is cool looking.
Yeah, it's just a cool looking belt. That's great.
Yeah, I like that one. So my next one, my number 3, this one might kind of throw you, but it was on, when I was putting my list together, I threw it on there because I'm like, that looks interesting. And as I kept looking at it, I'm like, actually, this is a really cool looking belt. And it just, I don't know why. It speaks to me. It is the Never Openweight Championship belt.
It's not a bad belt. Yeah. It's got a cool little look to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of simple, but like, I don't know, it's nice.
It's kind of cool looking. I like it.
I've always liked that title specifically because of his association with like Tomohiro Ishii and Katsuyori Shibata and like those like harder hitting strong style wrestlers. But the New Japan Strong title kind of has a similar visual motif to it. I don't know if you've ever seen that title.
I didn't even know they had their own championship.
Yeah, I believe Tom Lawler is the current champion.
Oh.
The Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles is the same basic design as the but it's got a blue middle, and I think the plate's smaller too. The center plate. I like the Never title though.
Cool.
Okay, my next selection is the AAA Mega Championship, currently carried by El Hijo del Vikingo. This is also the same title that Rey Fenix has carried, Kenny Omega has carried, and defended on Dynamite. I really love it because it kind of has a Aztec design on the front, I guess is what you would maybe say. I mean, I could be wrong about exactly, but it's got like kind of like a lion face, like a temple sculpture of a lion, but it has also like it's a what is that? Is that an 8? Yeah, an 8-sided pattern, an octagon. I've always just liked the way it looks. AAA has some cool looking belts.
That is a cool looking belt. That would probably be in my top 10.
If Lucha Underground was still an active promotion, I would have picked one of theirs because they had some amazing titles. But
cool. My number 2 has already been mentioned, and it is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
The thing, and you even mentioned it, but the thing that kind of stood out to me on this one was the nameplates.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool idea.
Because I don't think the world version had the same name, like had nameplates on the side.
No.
If it did, I don't know. It wasn't as prominent.
But yeah, it's a cool looking belt.
Well, my number 1, it's a classic. It's an old school title. It is the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. The 10 pounds of gold. it's a classic wrestling championship. It's the one that, did Ric Flair carry that, and Dusty Rhodes, and then they never really changed it, I don't think. If they ever changed it, it was like during the 90s or like the 2000s. But when it came back, they made sure to utilize this classic design, the old school. You used to see it on Mid-South in those shows. But yeah.
Okay, my number one is the NWA World.
So predictable. I love it. It's just it's if the big gold WCW belt was still active use, I probably would have picked that. We could do probably historic all-time favorites if we had some time to think about it, but yeah, I love the NWA title.
It's good. You were referring to Mid-South. That's the title I remember from Mid-South.
Yeah,
a couple guys. Yeah, and then when Nick Aldis had it and he did that, there was a DVD that they did called 10 Pounds of Gold. And it was good belt. Good belt.
Yeah.
So, well, that is it for us tonight. That was all the belts.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Unless you have anything else you wanted to talk about.
Nope. I think we covered everything this week.
All right, good. Well, everybody's listening. Thanks for listening, and I hope you come back next week to hear us talk about some more wrestling.
Have a good week.
Yep.
Goodbye and good